My uncle had tried to stone me to death, and now my cousins were here to finish the job.
Find out how God is using Adventist World Radio to reach the Muslim community and other difficult to reach areas with the gospel message. Hi, I'm Cami Utman, and this is AWR 360.
Adventist World Radio is broadcasting to the most remote locations of the world in more than 130 different languages. We've been doing this for the past, almost 50 years now, but I've never seen anything like this before. From baptizing rebels and assassins, almost daily we receive news of amazing miracles taking place all around this little ball of mud. Weesam's story right here in Nazareth is an example that especially touched my heart.
Being born Muslim, Weesam was taught to hate Christianity. So when his sister decided to become a Christian, he was sent by his family to kill her. But because of a miraculous dream from God, he decided to begin studying the Bible. He soon returned to Nazareth to share his new belief with his family. And his uncle, upon hearing this, became very angry and ordered his stoning. This happened over and over until finally his brother stepped in. Then his father advised Weesam to flee the country. Years later, after his father and uncle died, Weesam's mother invited him to return. He immediately saw an opportunity to share Jesus in Nazareth, so he decided to set up a center of influence where he used the Bible to teach English to his fellow people. We also gave Weesam AWR God Pods, which he distributed among his community. Recently, though, things took a turn for the worse as the sons of his dead uncle found out what Weesam was doing. They too had participated in his stoning many years before and now rallied a mob and went to Weesam's house to attack him. Weesam's wife Audrey heard the commotion downstairs and rushed out to see what was happening. She knew right away that Weesam was in serious trouble and fell on her knees and began to pray. Weesam's brothers rushed to protect him when he was hit with a metal rod, but then his own cousin pulled out his knife and stabbed Weesam. But to his astonishment, the knife bent, leaving him unharmed. Weesam's brother then picked up the bent knife and said,
"Try again to kill the man of God."
As the mob retreated, they threatened, "You will not know where or when, but we will kill you." Several months later, Weesam received a shocking phone call that these same two cousins had been killed while riding their motorcycle. It just reminds me that if God is for us, who can be against us? This miraculous event agitated the Muslim community so much that Weesam knew it was the perfect time to use AWR's cell phone evangelism. He immediately sought out someone to translate the sermons into Arabic. He found a man named Jamil who readily agreed to help. Jamil worked for days, sometimes late into the night, translating the Bible-based sermons. As he read, he was so greatly moved by the presentations that he felt compelled to share them with one of his friends from the Baptist church. She was so amazed by the sermons that she shared them with her pastor, who was also impressed by what he read. He then sought out Weesam to preach at his church. Weesam presented at the Baptist church, sharing Bible prophecy, our health message, and Ellen White's writings. Their hearts were so convicted that the pastor and almost his whole congregation made the decision to be baptized into the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And on a beautiful Sabbath day, we held a church service at the Jordan River. Then one by one, they entered into the water. Weesam had the joy of baptizing these precious souls with Elder Dwayne McKee. God is calling all who are willing to proclaim His last day message. Adventist World Radio not only broadcasts into the Muslim countries in their own languages, but we are working with people like Weesam, helping to share the gospel message in countries that still need to hear the wonderful story of Jesus. Thank you for supporting AWR. Jesus is coming soon, and He invites you and me to be a part of this great movement that will light the earth with the knowledge of His truth. Come with me to an undisclosed country where, despite all odds, Adventist World Radio is bringing hope to the hopeless and setting the captives free. I'm Cammie, and this is AWR 360. Raina grew up in a small rural village, helping her mother cook for their family and caring for her younger siblings. It was a simple and often hard existence, and Raina started to feel discontent. There must be a better, more exciting life for her elsewhere. She had heard stories of people going to the big city to find jobs and making lots of money. They would come back with glowing stories that only left Raina wanting to experience the big city for herself. Maybe she would find happiness there. Maybe she could earn enough money to help her family back home. Raina knew what she had to do. She packed a small bag with all her belongings and set off for the big city.
I had never been to a city before and rarely ventured outside my tiny village, so the thrilling newness of this adventure gripped me with excitement. When I finally arrived and stepped down from the bus, my heart froze as the reality of what lay before me started to sink in.
She had no contacts here, no place to stay, no job, and no friends. Part of her wanted to jump right back on that bus, but she had spent her last coins for that ride.
I had to be brave and with renewed confidence walk down the street. If I could just find a job, I would soon be able to help my family back home.
One afternoon, a man approached Raina. He had a kind demeanor and offered Raina a job. He promised she would make lots of money and would have plenty to send back to her family. This sounded like a dream come true, and Raina was anxious to begin. She followed the man down streets that narrowed and got darker. Unbeknownst to her, she was selling her freedom and her body.
What followed would bring my worst fears and nightmares to reality. I was betrayed by a kind man who was now my cruel boss. I was trapped, and as the dark days passed, hopelessness filled me.
kailan hindi binigay.
My boss did not fulfill even one of his promises, and I was paid so little that I often went hungry and lacked the basic necessities of life.
One day, when her boss arrived with her meager weekly earning, he coldly informed her that he had no money to pay her and tossed a small shortwave radio onto her bed. "This is your payment today," he said gruffly. Raina wasn't happy with this arrangement. She was hungry, and the radio wasn't going to fill her empty stomach. But she knew there was no point in arguing. Raina had never used a radio before, and out of curiosity started pushing buttons and turning the knobs. Soon the sound of sweet music filled her dark room. Then a man started talking about Jesus, his great love for us, how we can call on him in our darkest times of life, and his promise to be by our side. She stopped to listen to these words, feeling like they were directed straight to her heart.
Hanggang sa mga oras na ito,
Up until this point in my life, I had never heard the name of Jesus, but a longing was born in my soul to know more. I felt like a dirty, worthless human, but in that moment, a glimmer of hope appeared. I wanted to experience this unconditional love the man talked about.
Raina didn't realize it then, but what she was listening to was broadcast from Adventist World Radio. She eagerly turned the little radio on every day as the words of truth began to set her imprisoned soul free. With every broadcast, there was an offer given for free Bible studies, and Raina finally mustered up the courage to call in.
0917-597-5673.
The kind lady at the AWR office not only signed her up for the studies, but gave her the address of the nearest Seventh-day Adventist church.
gustong-gusto ko nang umalis sa buhay na meron ako.
I desperately wanted to leave this lifestyle I had been forced into. But when my boss caught wind of my religious activities, he was very angry and threatened to kill me if I left. I now had Jesus by my side though, and I wasn't afraid.
One day, Raina escaped her dark little room, never to return again. She timidly made her way to the only safe place she knew, the local Seventh-day Adventist church. The members welcomed her so warmly. They didn't shun her, but offered to help and opened their arms to her in protection. Just a few short months later, Raina was baptized into the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Sa ngayon, ako'y namumuhay.
I now live a life of freedom and joy in Jesus, thanks to that unlikely gift and Adventist World Radio.
This is AWR's mission, to set the captives free. Will you join us in spreading the message of salvation and the unconditional love of Jesus to others like Raina? Your prayers and donations are changing lives. From broadcast to baptism, this is AWR 360.